I was asked by my subscribers to comment about the murder of Willie AO, the human resources manager at Wells Fargo. I was hesitant to comment. There is this position I always find myself that whenever something is happening, I'm supposed to immediately comment on it. But you see, when you immediately comment on it, chances are higher that the comment you make may turn out to be very wrong. It may turn out to be very wrong. But if you delay, there's also a challenge in over delaying because you may stay for longer. And when you come out, especially if you are a Kenyan, it becomes a bit hard to tell whether that is what you are thinking or you are just another Kenyan. Kenyan, when things happen, we knew. If there is a case and it falls on the head, Kenyans will come up and say, tulijua itakuwa hivyo, whatever. But if the case ends up in the other direction, the same Kenyans will say, tulijua itakuwa hivyo. So it is also good to comment earlier before everything comes out, so as you are not seen to be like any other Kenyan. It is good to talk earlier so that especially a person like me, who is above average in whatever he says, I think most of the things I say, not all, they do usually come out correctly. And the advantage I have is that all the things I say usually are done very early before the facts are out, so that I differentiate myself from an ordinary Kenyan who says, we knew it was that way. So, but the question comes as to which is the right time to comment, which is the right time. And the right time is a few seconds. If you comment a few seconds before that, you have talked very early. And if you talk a few seconds later, you have talked late. So it is always good to have the right time to record and also the right time to upload. There are times when you record something and by the time you upload it, it is already in public domain. So you even don't even start uploading. I want to say in brief, because I want to connect this Willie AO's death with so many things of that nature. You may have noticed that in the last 10 or so years, something has been happening in our financial institutions. The government, through the National Police Service, through the Administration Police Service, created a department called Critical Infrastructure and Protection Unit. This takes care of the Deputy President's residence, or during the time when Ruto and Uhuru were not on good terms. But as you know, it is critical infrastructure. Any critical infrastructure, even the Minister for Defense can be guarded by them. Only that the KDF would take over that. The Minister for Environment and Wildlife, the KWS and the Kenya Forest Service would take care of that. So any critical infrastructure of the government is taken over by this department. And then private people, in many cases, when you want to hire police for private use, in many cases it is these people who are doing that. And many financial institutions in Kenya do hire APs from this critical infrastructure protection units. And when they hire these people, they hire, as I said, they hire. So you pay the service, the National Police Service, and you also pay the AP themselves good money. Let me not mention the money, not for any other reason, but they are paid as compared to what they get monthly. Uh, an AP who's guarding a bank, let's say 20 days a month, because I don't think there is any month that they guard 20 days. It is over 20 days. When they guard for 20 days, they get allowances which is more than their basic salary. So that is that structure is. But you may have noticed that in the last 10 years, after the new constitution and the creation of this department, we have a new system of bank robbery has come up. When I was young, we used to have instances where somebody would come to the banking hall, say kila mtu mikono juu, lala chini, and those robbers would steal all the money from the counter and from all the pockets. It used to happen that way, but with the new technology, where money is transferred through M-Pesa, through ATM and whatever, we have we have kiosks which do reduce the work of banking. What I'm trying to say is that nowadays, the money that is transacted within the banking halls, if you compare to the money that is used nowadays, I would say that it is 10%. And several decades ago, 90% of the money used to happen in the banking hall, and that is why we used to hear cases of my friend John Kiriamiti. They would enter a bank and say kila mtu lala chini. But the kind of bank thefts that are happening today is that you may have noticed that watchmen, yes, guards, security guards, are the ones who are stealing millions. But then those banks are guarded by APs. Then you ask yourself, where are the APs? A few of occasions, APs have been many, but it is found that out of the 12 hours that let's say the APs are supposed to guard the money, the 1 hour that they are a wall is when money is stolen. Now, I want to give a few examples. We have where APs were involved, but then you can see there is this case. I think it was in Nairobi West, if it is not Nairobi South, where a lady who was guarding a bank stole money from there. She was an AP, and immediately she stole the bank. She rushed to her home in Western Kenya, bought a vehicle, did a lot of things. Some of the money even stashed into her husband. Her husband was also an AP, but working elsewhere. But she was caught. And then there is also this case of Yaya Center. Yaya Center, there was some APs Yaya Center, we have so many. I think it is ATMs, yeah. Yaya Center, there is some ATMs where a security company vehicle was supposed to get money from the ATMs in Yaya Center and take them to a bank. Then just behind Yaya Center, about 200 meters from the ATM, some people noticed that there was a security company vehicle which was parked, and it was a cash in transit company vehicle. So the police were brought in, and the AP who was supposed to escort these banking personnel from the ATM to the bank was sleeping, heavy in sleep, clutching his gun. He was clutching his gun, unconscious. He had been dragged, although we cannot also rule out the possibility that he dragged himself, because if he goes to the hospital, and they find drugs in his system, he can always say that whatever happened happened when he was unconscious. I'm restraining myself from commenting further because uh, nobody stops Huatenge from saying what is in his mind. If you ask anybody who used to work with me in NIS, there was a saying that if you try to order Huatenge not to speak, then you have ordered him the opposite. You have ordered him now to speak. If you want Huatenge not to speak, make sense to him. As at the time of recording this thing, were it not for Willie Ayeko's death, I would not have even recorded this. But as of the time of recording this, there is some writing I had written about APs who are supposed to guard somewhere. They leave their place of guarding and they go to Kosolola Pesa somewhere. The case is active under investigation, and the way I see it, most likely I may not comment it forever. The reason is if the outcome pleases me and we discuss and find that the outcome is reasonable and whatever, I cannot tell you what security measures these people are taking, because that there is no way of knowing who are my viewers. Maybe even bank robbers are looking at it, and they know that in future APs will be taking this and this whatever, and such I'll not be sitakuwa chombo cha kupatia information to suspected robbers. I do believe, and I strongly believe, that in future we should do away with police officers guarding banks. Police officers guarding banks. Even those days when we used to have banks, bank robbers coming with guns and whatever, police officers were not guarding that place. But as things change, and you know, why should they guard the banks when most of the money is transferred electronically? Nowadays, apart from people who are coming from, let's say, supermarkets, petrol station, those who have collected the money for petrol, or those people who have collected the money from the supermarkets where you are, and they're taking them to banks. Nowadays, you rarely find somebody walking into a bank with money and coming out of the bank with ready cash. But then, still, we can still have a situation where armed people are guarding banks. Uh, we cannot change things like just in a flash, like a light bulb switching off and on. But I think the National Police Service or the NSAC, National Security and Advisory Committee, should think about having, after all, companies that guard banks are few. I don't think they can even reach 6. Then the 6 could have an elite team. I can tell you that a recruit from Kiganjo, when it comes to weapon training and handling, he cannot be of the same level as the rec company people, such and such. So we should have something like 5 or 7-star security firms, such that the watchman that guards the DEB school is on level 5. But then we have an elite team where these are the people who, let's say, the level 1 can be people who are already armed, former NYS, former National Youth Service officers. They undergo at GSU training school, let's say a 3 months weapon training, 3 months strictly weapon training and law, strictly weapon training and law. They spent there 3 months at the GSU training school, Magadi. I used to be there once. So that after they come out of there, their work is cash in transit and also what we call static guarding in the need. And then They are identified, they are vetted by the district security committees, so on and so forth. I'm not happy about, I said I will not talk about it, but let me comment about it, that I'm not happy with the way uh, the command of APs do behave when you peep them, that mnakaa tu mkizubaa, kumbe askari yenyu ametoroka bank na ameenda kuokota pesa. I said and I assured you that I'll not comment on it, but you see, there was some information which was being passed to me, which was, I could say that it was a thin veiled threat. One is that, oh, so you have been surveilling our guards, our police officers. So next time a bank there is a bank robbery, we will come for you. We will arrest you because you are surveilling the people. But you see, I am trained in the 80s. I was trained in surveillance and counter surveillance moves. So it is part of my training, and it's part of my training as an NIS emeritus, that should I see anything that is of a security threat, like any other Kenyan, I just go to the office and tell them, look here, on this day, between this time and that time, this person was, and then they come up and say that it is not my mandate. It is not my mandate to monitor the askaris and whatever. How do you know that whatever? First of all, if the askari has to go out for any other thing, he is supposed to inform the bosses that he would not be away for 5 minutes or even 5 days, so that a replacement is placed there. Now, leaving the place where he's guarding unguarded, and the person who tells you that it is unguarded, you tell him, okay, next time that place or any other place is stolen, we will get you. I think that is stupid. The other thing is, it is better for me to tell you that your people are not guarding the place they are guarding, so that you take remedial action. But you trying to color, and you even give me an example. You see, I was given an example that you see, even if he's guarding the bank or something, and he sees somebody who's very sick and whatever, he can leave the work. He sees a life-threatening situation. Maybe a woman is about to give birth, or maybe somebody looks very ill. He can stop there, go to the road, stop a matatu, bring the matatu, they rush the person to the hospital, because one life is more important than the millions he's guarding. But then after doing that, whether the bosses notice or whether the bosses do not notice, it is upon him to tell the bosses that on such and such a day, I was away for 2 hours because I had to rush somebody. Somebody was passing by and he looked to be very ill, and I had to commandeer a private vehicle to take the person to hospital, and then I came back. I'm telling you, nothing happened. The customers continued well, nothing happened. But you see, they disappear from their place of work, go to wherever they go, do whatever they do, and then after 2 months, when you tell their bosses, the bosses now turn against you. Because in all sincerity, if whatever he was doing was something that was genuine, then it is upon him to immediately come back and report at the earliest opportunity that that place I was guarding for an hour or two remained unguarded because of this and this. That one I think I finished. Now, when it comes to Willie AO, who motivated me to say these things, is that there's a supermarket, I think Quickmart, where some 94 million shillings were being transferred from the supermarket all the way it was being transferred from the supermarket all the way to a bank. But I think it was 94 million. On the way, the money got lost. Now, this is where the whole thing happens. 94 million is lost. What banks, what security companies do, and that is why you find we have not more than 6 companies that deal with banks. Not more than 6. There are 5 or less. This is the simple thing that security companies do undertake heavy insurance of that money. So that, like this case, where money was leaving Quickmart supermarket and going to a bank, it was being ferried by Wells Fargo, the company that Ayeko was the human resources manager. Then the money, the millions were lost. The millions were lost. And when the billions were lost, uh, what happens immediately is that the security company goes to the insurance company. Then the insurance company repays all the money. So that in case, like the case in Kataka near Cooperative College Langata, between the Cooperative College Langata and Ongata Rongai, there is some money which was found stashed in a water tank, water container. What happens is that the insurance company pays the whole amount on the dot, but the bank that is affected, the supermarket that is affected, that is Quickmart, and the bank where the money was being taken, and the security company, what they do, the 3 of them, they keep quiet. They decide not to publicize that thing. Even if you are found having stolen that money, they don't take you to court. They don't take you to court. Why? Because if they take you to court, it will come with publicity. And if it comes with publicity, they want to know which bank was involved or which security company and so on. So bad publicity may be more expensive than that amount. Because imagine a bank, when people hear that millions have been stolen, to many of us, we don't differentiate between that million and maybe the money you have placed there. So if you have your own 10,000 in an account, you think maybe that 10,000 has been stolen. So it is known which bank it is, there is usually people who run away from that bank. So because of that, the 3, the supermarket, the security company in cash in transit, plus the bank, would want the story to be not talked. They would not want the story to be talked, so that they may lose more customers because of the bad public. They may lose more customers. And you see, more customers, it would mean they may even lose more money than that one which was stolen. So what Wells Fargo did was, after that, they had their own internal investigations to find out what really happened. And one of the suspects who was being suspected was Ayeko, Willis Ayeko. Now, you may ask, how is the human resources director at the headquarters connected to these watchmen, 3 or 4 who are escorting the vehicle? Human resources manager or director, he's at the head office, and he's the one who deals with employing people here and there. You may never know whether he employed somebody so as to teach him. Like he may know a former police officer like me, and he employs me at that a small a fraction of the salary, while knowing that one day I may be required to go and steal millions and whatever. And those people who robbed him stole a lot of money from him, plenty of money, which also may raise a question, because we don't know how much he earns. We will want to know how much he earns, so that we try and look at how it is, and whether at his position it's good for him to have so many ready cash. You know, a lot of people use a lot of ready cash simply because you place them in a bank or you invest in things, then it is easier for people to trace you. Like one of the people who is a suspect now, he went and hired a new house immediately. When he hired a new house immediately, he he bought new furnitures and whatever. So last sentence is to say that Willie Ayeko's murder was to do with the loss of money from Wells Fargo. The money was leaving Quick Mart supermarket on the way to the bank, and the money was lost. And so he was under internal investigations to see whether he was in the case of the money being lost. So it is most likely that he was involved in the money stealing, and it was known, maybe even those people he stole with or any other person. And you see, even when it comes to stealing, kuna kurukana sana. Maybe walirukana and somebody came up for him. Thank you for viewing this video. Thank you.